Hi, welcome to M&Ms with M&N.
I'm the M. I'm Mark.
I'm Noah, which stands for the N. Today is our first official episode, and our guest today is actually our producer and editor, Nico.
Come on down, Nico.
So the premise of this podcast is basically every week we're going to bring in a bag of M&Ms. We're going to have our guest open it and pour some of them into this bowl.
Oh, this is going to be the hardest part.
What kind of M&Ms are we working with today, Nico?
We're working with M&M's Minis.
We were unaware that the Minis come in bags, not just in the little handshakers or whatever.
I always assumed that they came in the tubes, from our childhood, but apparently not.
And so the premise of this is basically once the bowl is out of M&Ms, then our podcast is over. All right, so at any point we can be eating the M&Ms. And Nico put together a list of topics for us to discuss today. And so what's the first one on our to-do list?
The first topic we have today is square pizza or triangle pizza. I'm assuming this is a discussion about preference, whether you like square pizza, whether you like triangle pizza, whichever one is better.
Well, triangle pizza is far better.
Explain.
It's more versatile. You can get anything in triangle pizza. Whereas square pizza, you don't want to have thin square cut pizza.
Think of all the ways you can eat a triangle pizza.
That's true.
You can just put it in flat. You can fold it. You can roll it up if you're weird. But square, that's it.
You could do that with a square pizza.
Yeah, you could. It's just people would look at you like you're weird. And honestly, if you're rolling up your pizza, we're going to look at you like you're weird anyway.
However, with the square pizza, there is usually part of the centerpiece of the pizza that does not have any crust on it. Usually the edges have pieces of crust.
That's horrible.
Yeah, but some people prefer the crust. I mean, I personally don't, but that's the thing that I do like about square pizzas is typically they don't even have a lot of crust. Even though the dough is thick, the actual edges of it don't have crust because the toppings kind of get spread over it because it's more baked than
But the crust is part of the pizza. That's part of the good part
Triangle
of the
pizza.
No, I would not say
Triangle pizza is uncontroversial, all right? All right. Everyone gets a slice that has the same amount of crust.
That's also debatable. Not all crust is the same crust and thickness. Some people don't make it as good as you would want it to be to have equal pieces of crust all around. So it kind of depends on where you're getting the pizza also.
But let's be honest. Where's the place where we had the worst crust?
I think I've had the worst crust at the worst pizza place because it was a vegan pizza shop.
Oh.
And it was called Naked Pizza. And they wanted you to have
there's so many things wrong with what you're saying. They wanted to have what now?
They wanted you to be very healthy, so they had gluten-free crust or something. And it was a weird type of cheese.
I don't think that's okay.
It's not okay. I agree.
Why would you eat there?
I'll show you.
Why did you eat there?
Because my family was weird. I don't know.
Because your family is weird.
So they opened this place up near where I lived, and their cash line was "Let's get naked."
Oh.
And I don't know why. I don't know why they did the things that they do. This is not it. I don't know. It's called Naked Pizza, right? And it had the worst crust because it was literally the worst pizza because of the ingredients they used.
And you're saying the crust was bad too?
The crust was very bad.
Okay, Nico.
Little Caesars.
Oh dang!
Oh no!
I was gonna say the same thing.
Not
Little Caesars is bad crust. Little Caesars. Okay, he can agree with me here. There have been times where after the first slice, I just stopped eating the crust. And in fact, there was a time where each of us got our own box.
Horrible.
We each got our own box of Little Caesars pizza, and I eat really fast. And so before he even started to eat his pizza, I had finished a slice of mine except for the crust. And so I opened his box and set the crust on top. And so when he went to eat, he had to eat the crust first. right? And so he picked up the crust and ate it off the top. By the time he finished that crust, I had finished my next slice and handed him my next crust. And so I ate all my pizza except for the crust and was handing him my crusts to the point that I ran out of pizza and he hadn't even taken a bite out of his because he was so busy eating my crusts.
Are you telling me you ate just crust?
I was
Just
going
crust.
through a phase where I just loved crust.
Well, that's not okay.
Even though it was Little Caesar's crust and you just said that was
Well,
the
I
worst.
loved ranch is what it was.
Ranch with crust?
No surprise, no surprise.
Crust is just a carrier for ranch.
Oh, wow. Okay. So back on topic here,
Nico,
square.
you just ate like that on camera. You just like shoved this face full.
That's how you gotta eat M&Ms sometimes. So back onto the
Sometimes you
topic of
gotta be
square
an M&M.
versus triangle. Triangle, Nico says is better. And you say is better?
See, my favorite pizza cannot be like determined because I like Sicilian and I like the classic New York style. But they have so different flavors. Like I don't want anything but pepperoni and maybe olives on my New York, but I want every meat possible on my Sicilian because there's so much crust and it's so airy, you want more things on top of it. But I don't think that pizza, like normal New York style pizza, needs anything more. I think it's at its best when it's simply put.
I agree. Simple is better.
Yeah.
Just maybe just pepperoni or just one
Yeah,
ingredient.
just pepperoni. It's like classic. Like you can't beat it.
I think the thing that I have about square pizza is that in the middle there is pieces that don't have any crust on it. Because I love the crust. I love to take bites of this triangle pizza and then also.
So what you're saying is if we each get our own box of pizza and I eat fast enough, you're gonna be stuck with my crust.
No, because I want the pizza part too. But what I like about triangle pizza a lot is that you can have pieces that you bite that are just pizza, but then at the end there's like a piece that's half pizza, half crust that you take a bite of the whole thing, and that's like one, almost like a little mini pizza
No.
in itself.
No.
Why are you telling me no?
Because I like it so much that I eat off the part that has the sauce and the cheese and the pepperoni until all that's left is like a thin piece of crust.
So do you like only some pizza, some part of the pizza? Because the crust is part of the pizza.
No, the crust is good. It just can't stand alone. That's what I'm
That's why
saying.
you're supposed to eat it like I just said.
Yeah, but it's better if you don't eat it like you just said. Like leaving a little bit of the toppings and then like eating it with the crust is not good.
Okay.
I'd rather sit and finish off that part, like nibble on whatever little part that has the toppings on it, and throw away the crust, than eat it with that stuff on.
That is heresy. So
How is that heresy?
We need to ask another
How is
question.
that
We need to
heresy?
ask another question.
No,
Let
no.
me answer this question. Is it a crime? We'll ask Nico. Is it a crime to eat the pizza part of the pizza and throw away the crust after?
This is
Depends.
detrimental here.
Are you eating thin crust? Or like a normal pan?
Would you eat thin crust or would you just throw away any crust?
Thin crust is nasty. If you just eat the crust, like it's like eating a burnt piece of bread.
Looks like you just got beat, Mark.
That's no. What? How did I get beat? That's an opinion.
You are the one who asked Nico. You shut me up and asked Nico.
Because that literally needs to be asked. It's not a 2/3 vote here.
It's not. You asked him. You asked for his opinion, and his
And
opinion
he
reigns
asked
sovereign.
another different question than answered that one. Is it a crime to throw away crust in general? Doesn't matter if it's.
Is it a
pan
crime
or thin
in general?
crust.
In general, no, because thin crust exists.
Oh.
Okay, what about pan? The pan crust, whatever the original crust is.
Do you have any sauce to dip it in?
Yeah, that's true. If you have sauce, or if it's like, have you had Hungry Howie's? Hungry Howie's, the garlic crust. That's
It's
good
def-
enough to stand on its
It's
own.
definitely a
That's
crime
garlic
to throw
bread.
that away.
It's like having garlic bread
Okay,
with your pizza.
So what about garlic crust?
That's what it is. I love that. The problem is like the classic crust is just like he said before, burnt bread. That's what it is. So if you have your pizza, but you've gotten garlic crust on it, like at Hungry Howie's, after you finish your pizza, it's just a bonus. Instead of having to eat this burnt piece of crust, you get a piece of garlic bread.
This is so weird. You guys are so weird. How could you? I cannot fathom why you would throw away crust. That's the best part.
Okay. First off, we have to clarify. So, on regular episodes, our guest is going to have a counter. And so every time that we make an argument that does not make sense or is illogical, then Nico's going to go back and add one to our counter. And so at the end, we're going to have whatever guest is there today gets to slap us for however many counters we have. And so I'm bringing that up because you stopped me in my tracks and said that's heresy for no reason. You never defined how not eating crust is heresy. How is it heresy to throw away your crust?
Because that's part of the pizza.
That's not heresy. That doesn't make sense.
You're saying that we're talking about pizza, and then you're literally throwing out part of the pizza in your opinions between square and triangle pizza.
That has nothing to do with it.
Yes, it does.
Have you ever had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and cut the crust off?
No, the crust is part of the. I like crust.
Okay, you like crust?
Yes, I like
That's weird.
crust.
Even on my Uncrustables, I have to tear off like
That's
that.
That's what the Uncrustable is. You can't tear
The
it off
definition-
crust off an Uncrustable.
the definition.
There's no crust to take off of an Uncrustable.
No, the crust is defined by the stuff on the outside. Like the crust of bread,
the crust of bread,
the crust of the bread, the crust of the pizza. Where's that at?
That's different. Crust
The outside. Where's the crust of bread? On the outside.
There's a crust of
so
bread.
So when an Uncrustable,
if you took off the crust,
the
what's on the
outside
outside?
that has
Is it
been
crust
pressed, it's different. It's different.
Okay, so
It's not the same as
had
the
a
stuff
loaf
that's
of
on the
bread,
inside.
tore off the crust, and then squished the edge of the fresh bread, is that now the crust?
Yes.
No, it's not.
Yes, because it's not regular bread anymore. It's damp bread. Dense bread. It's dense bread.
I wouldn't eat it if it were damp bread.
Are you looking up the definition of crust?
It's the earth crust now.
What is the crust of bread?
The tough outer part of a loaf of bread.
Huh.
It's not tough.
It is tough.
No, it's not.
Yes, when they clamp
chewy.
it down, that's the same as tough.
No, it's
no, it's
not.
not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
You're telling me chewy is the same thing as tough.
Yes.
Tough is beef jerky. Chewy is this.
No, this is not chewy.
Gum is chewy. Beef jerky is
Yeah,
tough.
that's not chewy, but like a gummy is chewy. Like a gummy bear.
Yeah, but okay, like you were talking about beef jerky. Okay, let's say the steak on a piece of fat. The fat on a piece of steak.
The steak on a piece of fat.
No, but
like
the fat is both tough and chewy.
No, it's not.
Yes, it's hard to chew, but it's chewy. It's spongy. Like your teeth rebound off of it when you bite down.
That's because
it's chewy.
there's a part of it that is chewy, and there's also the part that's tough, not the whole thing
I'm
itself.
just talking about I'm literally just taking a piece of the fat and eating it.
Keep getting a phone call. I apologize. That is no. I refuse.
Refuse
The
what?
crust is tough, it says.
Okay, look up a definition outside of like sandwich, because the crust of the earth, that's not tough.
That's a different crust.
It's a different definition.
It's crust, period.
That's a different crust.
It's crust, period.
What is the crust of a pizza? Is what we're asking.
Where did we
know.
get here from?
The crust is generally the part made of bread or something similar. In a pizza, the crust is the bottom layer, usually made of bread or something similar, on which you put any cheese, sauce, or toppings in any of the picture. This doesn't answer our question.
Just look up the definition of crust.
The definition of crust. How about that?
The crust.
Keep getting a phone call. Form into a hard outer layer.
A hard outer layer.
Yes.
It is, if
The
it's
outside
dense,
of an,
it's hard.
The outside of an Uncrustable is not
Yes, it is.
tough.
Relative to the inside of the Uncrustable, it is tough.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No.
Yes, it is.
The inside of an Uncrustable, which is filled with peanut butter.
No, that is super soft. The part that they like clamp down on the outside is tough.
When you take a bite of an Uncrustable, you cannot feel the difference of the texture of a super hard.
Are you kidding me?
Outer
I can
crust.
feel the difference. That's why I tear it off.
And then you chew it, and then it becomes soft like everything else.
That's why I tear it off though. So
You don't
can
even
take
notice it after
the
you
same
chew
thing.
it.
The same thing with the regular crust of bread.
No, you don't.
You take a regular bite of a regular piece of bread without taking the crust off, and you chew
Depends
it.
on what type of bread you
It
have.
gets soft.
Depends on what type of bread you
High
have.
quality bread. That's what I eat. Okay.
Okay, think about this. It says the tough outer part of a loaf of bread. Uncrustable is no. The crust in a slice of bread comes from the loaf.
By that definition, your slice of bread, that's the crust of the slice of bread, not the crust of.
No, it's the crust of the bread as a whole.
Yeah, but when you make a
crust comes
sandwich,
from
you're
the
not
loaf.
using a whole loaf of bread.
Yeah, but the crust comes from the loaf.
Hardened layer, coating, or deposit on the surface of something, especially something soft. There's a crust of snow, it says.
There's a crust on Uncrustables.
A layer of pastry covering a pie, crust of a pie. So that's what we're talking about when we say the crust of a pizza. The crust of an Uncrustable, that doesn't exist.
It does exist.
Because there's no hardened layer or coating on something soft.
I mean,
Comment below. Comment below.
No, don't comment below. 'cause
Comment
that's
below,
wrong.
and tell us your opinion on this.
I'm eating this like an animal again. Can't stop me.
You're gonna be like the character that nobody likes when they come on the show.
Yeah, I'm gonna be-
You're like, oh no, this guy's back.
Absolutely hated. Despised.
We have barely made a dent in these.
Should
We
dump it in
should've-
your mouth.
We should have gotten a smaller bag.
I told you not to pour the whole thing.
Oh, I didn't
You
hear
did
you.
say-
I told you like 5 times.
I wasn't listening.
Okay, so I don't even know where we landed on that crust thing.
We agree to disagree at this point.
I guess that's another question. We can just stem onto that. Is the crust of an Uncrustable crust?
It's kind of
To
what
me,
we
it's
did.
definitely crust.
It's called an Uncrustable because there's no crust.
It's called an Uncrustable because the people who made it didn't understand that the crust is something denser than the inside.
No.
On the outside, yes. On the outside, it's denser than on the inside.
I don't think that's the definition of crust.
We just looked it up.
It
It's
didn't
a
say
tough
anything.
part.
It didn't say anything about
It
dense.
said tough.
It didn't say dense though.
Relatively, the outside is relatively tough compared to the inside. Is it not?
I guess.
Yeah, so that makes it a crust. It doesn't
No,
matter
it
if
does
it's different.
not.
If it's tougher in any
Oh.
way, if it's tougher in any way than the inside, it's a crust.
It says tough and hardened. Would you use those words to describe the outside of an Uncrustable?
Yeah, especially because I eat mine frozen.
It's a different thing.
I don't think it is. I don't think that it is. Okay, so is there a crust on top and also the side of a pie?
Yeah,
Are they different crusts or are they the same crust?
they're different.
Why?
Well, it depends, because like there's a crumble topping, which is technically like a crust because it hardens when you cook it.
There has to be another definition for this, because what about like the crust on a pizza? That doesn't come from a loaf.
That's what I was telling you guys. You guys were being very single-minded.
No, we're not.
Well,
Yes,
it
you are.
doesn't-
We're literally taking the
We're
definition that you
taking the
told us.
definition, Noah.
We're
not-
taking one definition.
We're not putting our opinions in this. We're going based off what the facts are.
You're taking one. Oh, okay. Then there's no such thing as pizza crust.
Yes, there is.
No, there's no such thing as crust on a pizza, because you just said the crust, only by definition, is on the outside of a loaf. By no means.
It didn't say
Is
that's
pizza
not,
dough a
That's
loaf?
not the only definition.
That's what I was just. That's exactly the point I just made. That's exactly what I just said. I just said you're only going back based on that definition. You're very focused. You're very single-minded, and then you argued that you weren't.
Well, I looked at all of the definitions.
What do you say, Nico?
How can you possibly know that? That you've looked at all the
I
definitions?
looked at all the ones that were like on the screen.
No, that
on
would be a
website.
mark. That would be a mark. I looked at all the definitions.
On the screen.
You didn't add that until later.
Okay, so
I don't need to add that.
is the pizza crust actually crust based on definition? Then
Not the definition you guys were reading. That's what I was telling you. Crust is anything on the outside that is tougher, harder, denser.
That was like Webster or something.
No, that was just dictionary.com.
that was just Google. That wasn't even dictionary.
Oh, that's...
Go back.
Trust what
It
Google
should,
says.
It should have a website name if you scroll down. Oh yeah, it's dictionary.com.
The brown, hard outer portion or surface of a loaf or slice of bread, distinguished from crumb, which is what you said about the pie. A slice of bread from the end of a loaf, consisting chiefly of this, the crust, the outside.
There should be more definitions.
I think we should move on to the next thing because we're not going to get anywhere with this anymore.
I think we just have to get then their opinion on what that means.
Yeah. So like I said before, comment below on what you think.
I was scared you guys wouldn't spend long enough on each of these topics.
We've spent almost the entire time.
That is why this podcast was created. Is because we just go back and forth and beat things to death.
Monster style.
Okay, so next one has been talked about heavily off camera, which probably incited us to start this whole thing, which was cinnamon rolls. Dessert? Question mark?
No.
And I would say that cinnamon rolls are a dessert.
See, that's not the question.
Yes, it is.
First of all,
dessert?
no, that's not the question that we talked about before.
That's what's right here.
Okay, you can eat cinnamon rolls for a dessert. Just like you can eat anything for a dessert. You can have M&Ms for a dessert. You can have pizza for a dessert. Dessert is just the last thing that you eat. Yes.
I don't think that you can have standard pizza as a dessert.
Yes, you can.
Dessert's not the last thing you eat. No.
Yes, it is. It's typically sweet.
No.
Yes.
No, because
desserts are definitely typically sweet.
No, if I eat pizza for dinner and I eat nothing after that, that pizza is not my dessert. That pizza is my dinner.
That pizza's your dinner. I'm saying for dessert you can have anything. Just like for breakfast. Okay, I'll change my analogy. For dinner, you can have anything, right?
Yes.
I can have pancakes. Pancakes are not a dinner food. Pancakes are a breakfast food, but you can have them anytime.
So the question is, are cinnamon rolls dessert foods?
Yeah, a dessert food. And I would say that they're not. You can definitely eat a cinnamon roll for dessert. Like that's just the thing. You can have cinnamon rolls for dessert. You can have donuts for dessert, right? But donuts and cinnamon rolls are breakfast foods, things that you eat for breakfast as a meal.
Oh, no.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You do not. You maybe, but a lot of other people would.
Tons of people eat cinnamon rolls for breakfast. Tons. That's a thing.
It's like the dessert of breakfast.
The dessert of breakfast?
Because you eat salty, savory foods for breakfast, and then you eat something sweet, hence the cinnamon roll.
Cinnamon rolls can be salty.
Okay. The original question was...
You're saying that people eat salty, savory things for breakfast. How would you explain cereal? Cereal is by far the most breakfast thing I know.
Pancakes.
That's
pancakes. That's by far the most breakfast thing I know.
Because bacon and eggs are like pretty much staples of any breakfast.
I don't eat eggs. I'm allergic. Okay.
You're part of the small percentage of the entire population, 7 billion plus, that is allergic to eggs. So that's why it's not normal for you to eat eggs.
Either way, even if I did eat eggs, I would consider them a breakfast food.
They are breakfast food.
And even though they could be eaten for dinner or lunch, they would never be considered a lunch food or a dinner food.
Here's why we butt heads, because you say that they fit under this category primarily of breakfast foods, cinnamon rolls, and I am saying that they fit under all categories because you can plug it in everywhere. You can plug in cinnamon rolls to every breakfast.
You can't say that because if I ask Nico, hey, want to go to dinner? And then he's like, oh yeah, sure. And then I show up and I bring out like donuts, like he's gonna be confused. I thought you said we were going to dinner. Yeah, well, it's not a dinner food. We can have it for dinner. That's not gonna stop us from eating the donuts for dinner. But he's expecting a dinner food. And so if I'm talking to someone, I'm like, hey, want to go grab dessert? If someone asks me, never will I ever think of a cinnamon roll for dessert. Never.
Why
because
not?
I eat them for breakfast.
What about, okay, how many times at the mall do you see someone go to the Cinnabon, the
for a
Cinnabon
snack.
store for breakfast?
Snack. Oh, I've done it all the time.
You don't see very many people do that. You see a lot of people do it for a snack or for a dessert.
But regardless, you can eat it whenever you want, but it's a breakfast food. That's what I was saying. You can eat it for a snack. You can eat it for dessert. You can eat it whenever. but it is a dessert food.
I went to Pizza Hut, alright, and they had a combo, and it was pizza and Cinnabon sticks.
Cinnabon sticks are a completely different thing.
No, they're not.
Yes,
There's
they are.
cinnamon rolls in another form.
They're not cinnamon rolls. We're talking about cinnamon rolls. Cinnamon sticks, completely different.
So would you classify cinnamon sticks as dessert? Would you classify
That's the purpose that they were made for.
Would you classify cinnamon sticks?
So yes, I would, because that's the purpose.
As a breakfast food.
As Pizza Hut made them, they are a dessert. They labeled them a dessert because they're the ones who created them.
No,
yes.
They did not create cinnamon sticks.
I've never seen cinnamon sticks except when I was at Nico's house.
It's called making a cinnamon roll and cutting it into sticks.
I'm pretty sure Cinnabon made cinnamon sticks.
How about this?
I only get Cinnabon.
What proportion do you think of when you're thinking cinnamon rolls for dinner? Or breakfast?
What proportion?
Yeah, like how big are you talking?
Like, one or two Cinnabon?
What? Wait, how big is that? Can you show us like a... So that's your breakfast, right?
Like two of them.
Like two of them.
Yeah.
So what if we're talking about little bite-sized ones like this? Is that still your breakfast?
Yeah.
If there's only like maybe 3?
You know the little ones that you get at Walmart in the little tiny containers?
No.
They're like in the flat containers, and they're a whole bunch of little tiny ones.
Sure.
It's like 5x5
Sure.
of little tiny cinnamon rolls. Yeah. We have dropped so many M&Ms.
We've dropped 3, okay? It's fine.
I haven't dropped any, so...
I'm checking the camera to make sure it's actually working.
No, that's what the light's on for, Nico.
Yeah, but this can be deceiving.
Is it recording?
Yes.
Imagine that. The light that indicates that we're recording is on, so we're recording.
I don't trust anything anymore. Noah took 3 pictures instead of starting a video earlier.
It was full, so every time I clicked record, it just took a photo.
Okay. So on the topic of breakfast, fine. Why are pancakes an acceptable breakfast, but cake is not?
Because pancakes were made for breakfast. Same answer.
I think it's because people associate cake with dessert, like for breakfast. For birthdays or
because it's a
special
because
occasion.
it's a dessert food.
Yeah, but so are cinnamon rolls.
No.
Yes, they are, and so is pancakes.
No.
I don't know.
No, man. No.
You
man.
can eat pancakes for dessert.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You can eat a pancake whenever you want. You can eat a cinnamon roll whenever you want.
That's what I'm saying. That's literally all I am saying.
I understand that. But what you don't understand is no matter what you do, cereal is a breakfast food. No, you can have it whenever you want throughout your day. But no matter what you think, if you have to categorize cereal, it's a breakfast food.
Cereal is a breakfast food.
That's exactly the point I'm making. Foods have specific times when they should be eaten and when they've been created to be eaten.
I don't know if I'm with you on that one.
Just like pancakes made for breakfast. Eat them for breakfast. That's what they're made to do. But if you eat them for lunch or dinner, it's just breakfast for dinner. It's just breakfast for lunch. You can eat food whenever you want. You can eat food at 3 a.m. and it doesn't matter what food you're eating. If you eat cinnamon rolls at 3 a.m., it doesn't change the fact that they're a breakfast food. Just like if you eat cake at midnight, it's still a dessert.
I don't know where I stand anymore.
Food has specific categories. There's breakfast, there's lunch, there's dinner, there's
My
snacks.
mind's exploding right now.
There's desserts. M&Ms would be considered a snack.
I no longer stand anywhere.
You no longer stand anywhere?
Mm-mm. I don't know anymore. Because you're making valid points for the cereal.
And that's the same argument. That's the same argument I'm making.
I know, but for the cinnamon rolls, it just doesn't click in my head. It doesn't make sense.
Why not? Like what? When do you eat cinnamon rolls?
For dessert. I would never eat that for a breakfast.
You've never waken up and eaten a cinnamon roll? Your mom's never made you cinnamon rolls in the morning?
I would never, ever in my entire life eat a cinnamon roll for breakfast because I don't want to eat a cinnamon roll for breakfast because that's not breakfast food. That doesn't nourish my body for breakfast as a
Neither do donuts, but those are breakfast food.
That's part of your breakfast. You can eat one donut at the end of your breakfast.
I've eaten just a donut for my breakfast.
I know, that's not okay.
Why is that not okay?
Because you need to eat certain nutrition at certain meals.
I usually just don't eat breakfast.
I know, that's not okay either.
And so if I eat a donut, that's doing good.
No, it's not.
That's not doing good. It's not doing as bad.
That's at least you ate something, but it's not good either. So we're leaving that where it's at.
Yes, we are.
Nico scrolled down, so I guess we're going here.
We're going to those.
All right, dogs with Instagram accounts. What does that mean, Nico?
That means, what's your opinion on that?
I am so
Should
confused.
that happen?
Should that be a thing? I think you have to determine what the purpose of Instagram is for.
I don't care.
Wow.
If you want to make an Instagram for your dog, and then your dog just has pictures of itself on its Instagram, and people are into that, like that's cool. You want to look at other people's dogs? I don't know why you just don't go buy your own, but like if you don't have enough money and you just want to look at some dogs, it's like having puppies for your wallpaper. Like who's to say that you can't do that?
Nobody.
And so I don't really have a problem with it. It's just like you might not deserve the right to vote. Like there might not be something right up there, you know? If you're just looking at pictures of dogs all day.
Dogs with Instagram accounts, yes, because you can. And nobody cares.
Just because you can, yeah.
Nobody cares. Like,
what harm are
way.
you doing? You're doing literally no harm.
No harm, no foul. Nobody cares in a good way because we don't care that you're doing it, and we wouldn't say to not do it.
Yeah.
But you can also do it because we do enjoy it at times.
Yeah, because it's funny. Like if
It
you
is
just
funny.
like pop up and there's a dog and you're like, who did this? Just see a cute dog. Oh, that's cool. So
All right.
I'm not gonna knock that.
Easy one. Small dogs or big dogs? Big dogs are better.
I don't like dogs, period, but I have to say small dogs because I have 2.
He has 2 small dogs. Nico, how many dogs do you have and what sizes?
Like 9.
I used to have 7. I think I have like 5 now. And
They're all range from like this size to like that size.
No,
off the
they're
ground.
from here to like.
No, Ruby's
Yeah.
Ruby's bigger than that.
I don't know. Ruby's deformed at this point.
It's kind of terrifying.
I would say big dogs because they have more utility. That's my, I guess, only argument.
Well, I mean, I like the small dogs because they're really like big on personality. Like they just kind of like do their own thing, and then like they bark at the door like a big dog, but at the same time they don't get in the way. And so like I'm allergic, and so like them just not getting in my way and not making me sneeze and have my eyes run and my nose run, like that's cool. And then I can still like see them, but they're not gonna like jump up on me and like make my allergies go wild. Like I can sit and pet them and then wash my hands and I'm all good.
I think big dogs are more convenient. You don't have to like pick it up to pet it, or like get down on the ground. Like it's just already there.
See, my dogs are like trained, so you just say here, and then they'll just jump up on your lap.
I think that in the future we need to have like some sort of, I don't know, maybe like chart that shows unbiased of our opinions or unbiased of what
Right
we
here.
think.
Right here, we'll have a whiteboard.
Like unbiased of allergies or unbiased of what we have ourselves.
Unbiased
Which
of
dog
allergies.
is better.
Unbiased
Like,
of
what
allergies.
size is better.
Unbiased of everything. I would still say a small dog because they'll let you know that there's an intruder, but they also like are small enough that like whoever's like trying to break into your house isn't just gonna like shoot them right away. Like if you have a big dog, like that might scare people away, but if you have like a dedicated like person trying to break into your home, they're just gonna shoot your dog and you're gonna be down a dog. Whereas like if you have like a little tiny puppy, like they're just gonna like kick it away. And they'd also warn you that they're there.
No.
What do you mean no?
If your dog is all barking, they would not do something to silence your dog, your little dog.
My dog doesn't even bark that loud.
So what you just said applies to both small dogs and big dogs.
How?
If the dog is a problem for the intruder, something's going to be done whether the dog is
That's what I'm
10
saying. A
pounds or
small
50
dog,
pounds.
a small dog can't stop an intruder, and it won't be like a huge inconvenience to them, but it will warn you that they're there.
So will big dogs.
Big dogs will warn you that they're there, but then they're gonna like stop the intruder and then just like get themselves killed.
I don't know about that.
It depends on which dog.
Your dogs don't count, Nico. Their dogs have gotten used to like the open door policy, and so like people just walking in and out of their house, and like
That's
their
true.
dogs just chill and stare.
Your dog's
Well-
like everybody that comes in.
bark if they don't know that.
We're gonna run out of time before we run out of M&Ms, which is not what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, thanks to the SD
We need
card.
big handfuls now. Let's go, boys.
Let's do a bag. I told Nico not to pour them all.
Send us a pour 'em all, but we did anyway.
All right. We'll end it right now because I don't know how much time we have, and we'll finish off with, since we're on the topic of dogs, best dog story.
Best dog story.
Best dog story.
That's what we're doing right now.
Yeah. I've got a good one. Nico, you know what I'm gonna say.
You start.
I start? Okay.
You actually have one already.
I have a pretty good one. So, this has to do with a dog. It's not exactly like a dog story, but a dog plays a major role in it. So, we were at Nico's house, all my friends and I, and we have this one friend named Isaac, and I told him, so basically, we'll set the scene. They're making pancakes. I wake up, everyone's making pancakes, right? It's cool and all. Joa walks over for no reason and just dumps Snickers, half of them still in their wrapper, into the pancake mix. So basically, they make these pancakes still anyways. These pancakes look absolutely horrible. It's just melted chocolate everywhere, right? The pan's being burned. Like, half of the pancakes are half cooked, half of them are burned. Like, it's bad. Isaac picks one up and just says, I'm not gonna eat this, right? He throws it on the ground. This pancake, mind you, like 85% chocolate, 90% chocolate, right? This tiny little dog, the one we talked about earlier, Ruby, walks over and starts eating it. And I'm like, Isaac, you better stop that dog. And he's like, she's fine. She's on her deathbed anyway. Like this dog is old, like has tumors all over its body. It's tiny, like it's gonna go soon. Like, we thought it was gonna die. And
Good way of thinking.
yeah, it was so Isaac did nothing about this dog eating just straight chocolate.
Wow.
And it ate the entire pancake. And then a couple of weeks go by, and we all go back over to Nico's house, and we're spending the night. And I'm sitting on the couch, and I get this idea. And Isaac was talking about how he had fed the dog the pancake full of chocolate. And I was like, oh my gosh, Isaac, you know you killed that dog, right? Like, it just went through my mind. He killed that dog. I told him, that dog died, like, within that week. I was like, Isaac, you killed that dog. Like it's gone. They buried it and everything. And he was like, what? And he felt like really bad. And he was like, and I was like, dude, you gotta go apologize. Like, if you don't apologize, like they don't know like how or why it died. Like, if you don't explain to them, they just thought it was tumors because it was old. But it could have still lived on. You don't know. And he felt like he was crying at one point. And he's sitting in, and I, for like 30, 45 minutes, I'm sitting there, like, just going on about this. Like, you need to apologize. And he was like, I'll apologize later. And there's still people going in and out of the house, it's a party. And he finally gets up, and I'm like, you need to go now. Like, you need to go apologize. He goes, he walks up to Nico's mom, and is like, I'm sorry, Mrs. Vicky, I killed your dog. And Vicky's just confused, and he's like, I fed Ruby a chocolate pancake, and I didn't stop her from eating it, and she died, and I'm really sorry. And he's breaking down in tears, and Vicky was just like, Ruby's right there. And Ruby just looked up at them as they were talking. And so Ruby had not died. I just convinced him that he killed the dog. It was great.
That sounds like a really good friend.
Oh yeah, you don't even know. This was like a week after he almost killed me, like 3 times.
Yeah, other stories.
Yeah. We'll get into those later.
There's a lot of stories to get into.
Either of you guys?
I don't know if I can top that.
That's true. One of my best pranks of all time, hands down.
I think the only like good story that I have is that like that one week at life groups where we got like a phone call that something happened, or they called you. What did they say?
Yeah. They called.
And they needed to come home. Like,
you guys need to come home right now.
And we were thinking that something like literally bad happened, and we like rush over there as fast as possible. We were going to shoot like the very first episode of this, but then we had to go because something really bad happened.
Yeah, like we had already made plans. Like we had like an extra hour to burn, but they called us.
We went there, and apparently my dog, who is a husky, he had just pooped everywhere, like just shot it out of a cannon, like all over the floor. And all of the girls were hysterical, screaming. Everything smelled bad.
They claimed to have all vomited.
They all vomited. Everybody was like heaving, and it was just like really bad, apparently. But we showed up, and everything was clean, and they were eating ice cream. So we don't know how that happened. Apparently, they just cleaned it up. I would not like to have been there, personally, because that does sound like something I would throw up at, or just heave, or what is it called when you like?
Yeah,
you're like making that noise / sound. Heave is the word. So that's like the only thing that I can even think of that's even remotely funny to tell to you guys.
Yeah, that kind of sucked because
that did suck.
Like we had like an extra hour to like start this,
and then we sat there for like another 30 minutes because they weren't like done.
Yeah, they weren't done. They called us, rushed us over there, had already cleaned up. We're sitting there eating ice cream, and they were not done hanging out, and so we just stood there for like 30, 45 minutes.
We stood there, yeah.
And we're like, you guys didn't need us.
And my place isn't very big, so we stood in the doorway, like shoulder to shoulder, because there was a lot of girls there.
Yeah, and it was hot.
And it was hot.
It was hot because there were so many of them in there.
Yeah.
At one point, we just like stepped outside
into the cold. It was kind of cold.
Yeah, but it was kind of nice because it was like hot then cold, you know.
Right.
That we were feeling.
All right. Nico,
I think.
Do you have a story?
No. Okay, I think that just about does it. Thank you for joining us on our first ever.
Oh wait, no. Thank you to our guest.
Oh yeah, thank you to our guest. Our first guest, our producer / editor
/ first guest,
Nico Busse.
Nico. Thank you so much, Nico. Any words for the fans?
Watch the next episode.
And feel free to hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you for joining us on our first ever official M&Ms with M&N podcast. Official. Thank you.